So anyway, the solution is getting out of the self, a higher consciousness. That's step three. Step three, amazing grace, faith. Get out of the self already. We're in our own way. We can't do it. We can't do it because you know what our mind is and our ego is? It's what people told us. They lied to us. They lied to us. It's just like the crack or heroin dealer, on the corner. When you believed all the things people told you, that they said to you, look, hey, they said to me, Bob, if you want to do better, people like you have to do this, dress better, right? Look better. You have to be more successful. All these different things in life. You got to get them to like you. How crazy is that, right? So, we can, I use this example. You're at a meeting at work, or say you go into a 12-step meeting, or whatever it is, and you in your mind, our mind thinks, maybe everybody's looking at us, and we're the worst person, nobody likes us, whatever. Not all the time, but maybe. So we go in there, the best thing to do is, even if it's true, just sit there and smile. And realize it's not about all of these things outside of us. We could be like an airplane, and it talks about here, and flying over the clouds, and all the things below us. We don't have to, that's nonsense, it's not true. Why would it be true whether somebody likes us or not? What does that have to do? They're crazy people. We're crazy, right? They say hurt people, right? So here we go. Well, actually, the third step prayer is on page 63. I talked about the third step, the first sentence. Let's read that quickly. On page 63, near the bottom of the first paragraph, about the 10th sentence down, as we felt new power flow in. New power, getting reborn. Wait, you'll see what it says there. The old self, forget everything you knew. It's all nonsense. And the way you know it is, look how miserable you are. We were meant to be happy. If you do this prayer here, this page 63 right here, right now, and bring it in here, you know how many times you intellectualize it. As we enjoyed peace of mind, do you want peace of mind? That's what we're all looking for. We're not looking for $1 billion. We're looking for the $1 billion to give us peace of mind. We're not looking for a lot of people to love us or like us. We're looking for peace of mind. That's really what we're looking for. But it tells you how to get it here. As we discovered, we could face life successfully. How unsuccessful have a lot of us been, right? We hit bottom. As we became conscious of his presence, we began to lose fear of today, tomorrow, hereafter we were reborn. This whole thing is so important. There's one point I just thought of that I want to bring up. You know how you hear about being in the present, power now, whatever it is, or meditation? That's as good as far as it goes. We have prayer and meditation. I could go crazy all day trying to hear. They say, when you wash the dishes, be in the present. I'll try to be in the present all day. It could drive me crazy. It's not a bad way to go, though. And you can meditate and being, grateful, being in the present. But we also have faith. The whole thing in our life is faith. When people could hear say, well, what do you mean faith and what does it mean? And it talks about we agnostics. We had faith all the time. It's the same faith you had that if you did better successfully, if more people liked you, if you had more food, more alcohol, more drugs, that was the same faith you had that was going to make you better. But that's faith. So now we have faith in within us. We were creating God's images and feeling the vibrations of the universe. We're out of the material into the spiritual. We have a human side, which, okay, go out and enjoy and find some pleasure there. But the real joy and happiness, which we're really looking for, is in here. So no matter what happens on the outside, it doesn't matter. The addictions aren't going to help us. They make more pleasure, gives you more devastation on the other side, because when it's not there, it just has that negative effect. So the real joy and happiness to be centered is to find in here. That story about Mount Everest. The guy who said it, he was a meditation center I went to years ago. He said, look, the guy went and climbed Mount Everest. He says, I could sit on my couch and be just as joyful and happy. But he said, not only that, this guy had momentary pleasure. I can be happy and sit here and have that real permanent joy and happiness, finding where the source is. I looked, he's saying you look all over. It's not out there. So whatever you're doing on the outside and you're upset about, it's not there. Or if you're right now happy about something like, you have, like, say, you're in your addictions and you're being joyful about it, it's going to be really bad on the other side because it's momentary pleasure. So it goes on to say, God, I offer myself to thee on page 63, and to do with me as thou wilt, relieve me of the bondage of self. Get out of the self, and then you can read the rest of the prayer. But anyway, I'm going to do this. Let's go to page 64. At the bottom it says, resentment is the number one offender. In the last paragraph, the beginning of the last paragraph. But in the middle it says, when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. We came in here, we were spiritually bankrupt. Are you spiritually bankrupt? If you want the grace of a higher consciousness, when you let go, and the life will become very successful. When you surrender, all life will surrender to you. People, it's just changing. It's just a whole perception. It's all perception. All life is just perception. And when you realize it's all perception and you're thinking, you don't have to be fearful anymore. You don't have to be upset or anxious. You don't have to be in your addictions, alcohol, drugs, food, whatever it is. You can get out of it. Here's a way out. It's giving you a way out. On page 65 of the columns on the fourth step. But the whole important thing here is on the right side, it has the word fear in brackets. It's self-centered fear. We had just read on page 62. What did we just read? The first sentence says this. Selfishness, self-centeredness. That was our problem. It's based on the self. Get out of the self. It's not about the self. Look, we came from dust. We're going to dust. We're under the illusion. We're a prisoner. You know, we don't know the truth. The truth really is, and in the beginning, the first paragraph in this chapter says honesty. Being honest with, not giving somebody the correct change, but being honest with ourselves. Knowing the truth will set you free. The truth is that all this crazy thinking is false. It's nonsense. Okay, so we see that, and we're going to the next page here, page 66. And then we're going into my favorite thing here, the sick man prayer. But near the bottom of page 66, this is really, really important, because this is the way we run our lives. Look near the bottom there, in the last paragraph, full paragraph, it says, in the third sentence, we began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. Do you want to be a slave? It's like being in a prison. Do you realize some people in prisons, they could be in solitary confinement, so they're more freer than you are? Think about it. How you imprison yourself. Because it's telling us here, the world and its people dominate. The world, when we're in the material, things of the flesh, they call it world. People like us, or our addictions, or whatever it is, then we're off center. We're finite. You want to be infinite, joyous, and happy and free. We're here. We're looking for the momentary pleasures. It just doesn't work that way in life, and that has to do, of course, with the 7 deadly sins, right? Gluttony is one of them, and pride, envy, greed. So all of these things, and Bill talks about that on page 48 in the 12 traditions and 12 steps. As he talks about that. How could we escape? It says. It's giving you the answer here. How could we escape? We saw that resentments must be mastered, but how? So it's telling us we have to, find out. Okay, here on page, so on the bottom here, okay. So here's the thing. Like we say that most of it is due to, okay, we just got a few minutes because I want to hear the shares here. The way it's with people, it's called the sick man prayer, and it says on the very bottom of 66, we realize that people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. When people wronged me, I thought they were even better than me. I got upset. But now I can look at them, and it's going to say here, like, if you have a friend who's in a hospital with a broken leg, do you look at them and get upset? No, you have a compassion, understanding, and love. So it's saying when a person tries to push your buttons, they say hurt people, hurt people. So the whole perception change. Did we not like their symptoms and the way these disturbed us on the top of page 67? They, like ourselves, were sick too. Again, we had to realize they're all crazy, right? Because we're coming from the material, the ego, the self. Then we would cheerfully, when a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick man, how can I be helpful to him? So the perception changes. All your enemies, I say love your enemies. You can do that now because you realize that you can have compassion and love. If somebody, again, had a broken leg, you visit them in the hospital, you'd have understanding, you wouldn't be angry with them. But God forbid somebody looks at you the wrong way or says something that tries to push your buttons. But we have a perception. We can understand and have compassion and love. So we have this God esteem, right? Just this whole conscious change of thinking. God save us from being angry, thy will be done. Okay. So it goes on to say, just the next paragraph, it says, referring, or the one after that, our list, putting out of our minds the wrong others had done, we resolutely look for our own mistakes. So I had to look. In all my life now, I see when I'm upset, it has to do with Bob. Nothing on the outside. It's perception. It's not so much in the 417, when acceptance prayer, it's not so much of what has to be changed in the world, but has to be changed in me and my attitudes. So you can enjoy the day and realize it's not about us, that there's no reason not to be happy and joyful. I can't help myself. I got something to say here. Look, this thing with, what we call so-called normal people have all of these same emotions. They get anxious or fearful. Do you realize some people jump out of airplanes just to feel that exhilarated feeling, or they go to scary movies? But no, sometimes people in our neurotic or our conditions, a lot of times, we can become friends with our emotions. Look, there's a guy he was an obsessive compulsive. He went to see the doctor. Doc says, well, how can I help you? What's your problem? The guy says, because I think I'm an obsessive compulsive. We have all these emotions, which are very times normal, but we catastrophize them. Oh no, I'm going to go crazy. I'm in this situation. We could become friends. And then not only do we appreciate the emotions, but a lot of times that's what takes the energy out. Just like, because it says step 1, we're powerless. When we surrender. So even if you are a person who all day long has these fears and so forth, we can observe them, look at them, like, become emotional. We don't have to become part of them necessarily. And if they do become part of us, just accept it. Most of the time, I experience what a lot of people here experience. It's a normal thing. People are fearful, but I always took it to the extreme. That's why I ended up taking drugs and drinking, right? Or any of my other compulsions. But now I see a different way through these steps in the program. And we just heard share about Jackie just said, just accepting these things and seeing that all good things, all bad things are good. We made up a decision in our mind that if we became a little bit fearful that we're going to have an anxiety attack or provoke these emotions. But it's all okay. We can accept that. If we even have that in our life, it's nothing that we have to dwell on all day long. We could become more friendly with it and understand, have a little bit for ourselves the same love and compassion and make that part of our lives. But anyway, hey, it's simple but not easy. It says it right in that great reading we did on how it works. Simple but not easy. It's simple. That's the whole key. But it's not easy because it's contrary. We want to control life and everything. Right here, right now, I'm saying we could have that awakening when, like I heard you just say, about making it about something else outside of ourselves. Do you realize that our thinking is just chemicals, like she says, in the brain? That's all it is. Thoughts are just thoughts. We don't have to believe them. It's just nothing. The real truth is enjoying the reality of life and feeling the vibration and love and nature and things around us. But we want to stay in the ego and we want to be in solitary confinement. I'm telling you, we're the ones. We made a decision to do that. We can't go around blaming and being self-pity and blaming and being the victim, as they call it. It's perception. It's all a perception in your brain. But anyway, and that's what these steps and religions, and again, these steps are all religions, philosophy. Okay, if you like what you hear here or like what you see here, press the like and subscribe button. You'll see them on the bottom there. You'll see like and subscribe, and this way you'll get the message out there. Listen to these speakers: Anthony A, Russell Spatz, Clancy brothers, Raymers brothers, Chuck C, Sandy Beach. So Joe and Charley, Sandy Beach, Chuck C, Raymers brothers, Clancy, Russell Spatz, Anthony A, all great speakers. So anyway, this is Alcoholics Anonymous, a 12-step program, and it includes AA meetings, sobriety, just a few key words here. It's based on the alcoholism, and it's for drug addiction. We talk about the food addiction a lot, and it involves meditation and prayer. That's step 11. Just a few things before we get started to mention, and of course the meetings, as I mentioned, sponsors, and it's a 12-step program. And we also have the book called 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. We have 12 traditions also.